All right, everyone. I got a great guest on tonight. I got Anthony Andersen from LiT Beard Company. So some bearded shenanigans are going to go on tonight. Anthony's going to tell us all about LiT Beard Company, but first he's going to tell us about this awesome milestone that him and his company have just hit lately. Anthony, take it away.
Sure. So earlier this week was Giving Tuesday, and I donate $1 from every sale of Lip Beard Company to Project Welcome Home Troops. Project Welcome Home Troops is an organization that helps with mindfulness meditation, really to address the host of issues that affect and impact veterans and their families when they're trying for a happy and healthy reintegration. So this year I set a big goal. I wanted to get to 10,000 orders this year, just in this year, which I had never come close to that order total in the past. And another Iraq vet that I served with, he owns a beverage company here in Wisconsin. It's called Carbless. They kind of make like craft cocktail drinks in a can. He said to me, Anthony, if you can hit 10,000 orders this year and get that $10,000 donation, I'll match it.
Mm.
I said, great. So all year I've been grinding. And I called up Project Welcome Home Troops on Tuesday to let them know that, yes, indeed, Lit Beard Company for the first year ever had 10,000 orders in a year, actually 10,144. And I'd be making that donation, and my buddy Adam at Carbless would be matching. Unbeknownst to me, I had told the lady about a month ago that I felt like we were trending that way. I did not know that they established a grassroots campaign to see if they could attempt to match what we did. So when I called her and said, hey, we're going to be donating $20,000 this year to help veterans and their families to Project Welcome Home Troops, she said, we have a matching donation from our network. So Lit Beard Company was able to contribute $40,000 towards veterans and their families this year, bringing our 3-year donation total with matches and some help to just under 65,000 bucks.
And that's just incredible that you were able to hit 10,000 orders plus. You
Yeah.
know, just that alone, like we're going to talk about the company here in a little bit, but having to, you're not just having a hustle to fulfill orders for the company. You are having the hustle because you set a goal and to help veterans like us because you're a
Hmm.
veteran, and that's just huge. And the fact that the company did it, so it went from 10,000 to 20,000 because your buddy in the beverage company, and then
Yep.
so $40,000 all because
Yeah.
of this drive you did.
Yes, and so like I said, we've never come close to that before. The most we'd ever done was about 6,200 orders in a year, and that was actually 2 years ago. So this year, I was really trying to stretch it big time. I wanted to push myself. I really wanted to set a lofty goal and really go with the momentum and challenge myself and challenge all the razor haters. If you're a Lit Beard Company customer, you're known as a razor hater.
Mm-hmm.
Challenge the razor hater community to step up. And yeah, we did. I mean, it was unbelievable. And so not only do I do Lit Beard Company, but I also have a regular full-time job. So when I come home, from my regular 9 to 5, I then come down here and grind out. And so I'll have to see what I want to establish the goal for 2024 to be. I'm certainly not interested in taking any steps back. So I'm going to have to find a new gear, if you will. But I know I'm all gas, no brakes, so I'm not concerned about it.
So 9 to 5 job, but you were in a veteran. You were in the Army and Marine Corps. Which one was it?
I was in the Army. I was in the Wisconsin National Guard. I volunteered for 2 deployments. So I enlisted, like many people kind of our age. My first week in college was the 9/11 attacks. So I finished my freshman year of college, enlisted. I started with kind of a plan to start in the Guard and finish college and then see if I wanted to do active duty full time. And while I was in the Guard, I volunteered for my first deployment, 2004. I was stationed at Camp Liberty in Baghdad. So I was an infantryman. So I did like infantry stuff, going on patrol for our
Yeah.
brigade. Our battalion commander wanted to go out on, patrol. We were his PSD and stuff like that. Did that 04, 05 in Baghdad. Then I went back 07, 08 to Balad, Iraq, LSA Anaconda. Second time during the surge, I did convoy escort. So contractors, we're going to deliver ice mail, helicopter parts, whatever we need to get from A to B, and we need security.
Yeah.
I did that. So yeah, so I did 6 years in the Wisconsin National Guard, 2 deployments to Iraq.
So when you when you got out, what did you first do when you got out of the guard?
So that would have been in the fall of 2008, and I had just completed my second deployment. Um, I did what a lot of guys do. I didn't have children at the time, but I was married. So I tried to like reconnect with my wife. I tried to, find work. Do I want to go back to school and finish my degree? I was
Yeah,
kind of trying to feel everything out. But ultimately, what I did, got a job, went back to school. I went to school to be a grade 6 through 12 English teacher. That was what I went to college
interesting.
for at University of Wisconsin Milwaukee. And I did that for a few years. I was working towards my degree, but ultimately then I started working at a nonprofit in Milwaukee that helped veterans if they were homeless, had drug and alcohol problems, recidivism issues. A lot of it was done through a peer-to-peer approach. So I started working in the veteran community around 2011, I think, and I was doing that for a few years. And that was one of the things that really got me interested in always being of service. Like, even though I was out of the military, it was a great way for me to find a way to stay, kind of in a group where I had established camaraderie, like, all of us have, where we spoke a common language, where there was
Yes.
that kind of like warrior culture. So it was interesting to continue serving, but now serving them instead of serving with them.
So when we're on active orders, we're on active duty, whatever you may be, we're fresh shaven, we're looking nice and sharp and all that. But when like what I did, every time I had a long weekend, I didn't shave, and
Hmm.
I just waited for that day that was going to come to where I was going to be able to grow my beard out. And I think
Yeah.
everybody tried to do that because they just couldn't wait to not have to shave anymore.
Yeah.
So beard products are not something necessarily that we need while in uniform. But eventually it became something that a lot of veterans have needed after service. When did you decide, like, okay, I'm not only am I going to have the beard, but I'm going to do a company that will specialize in beard products? And when did LiT like become a thing?
Sure. So I started growing a beard, in 2010, 2011, something like that, where at that point I just kept it. To your point, like, hey, if I've got time, I'd grow a goatee or something like that. But full-time bearded, yeah, like 2010, 2011. From time to time, I would get different products, an oil or a butter or something like that, and it never quite stuck. I'd use it a little bit,
Yeah.
but like here, I'm in Wisconsin, and so like during seasonal changes, my beard would get real, or my skin would get real dry, especially like now as it's transitioning to winter, and
Yes.
it get real itchy and stuff like that. And so maybe about 4 years ago, I was talking with a buddy, and he's talking about beard oil, and he's talking about making beard oil. And I started watching videos on YouTube, like what all goes into it, and how do you make it, and how do you blend it. And so he and I started talking more and more, and we're like, we should see if we can make our own. Like, you like it, I like it. We've used them at different times. Let's see if we can make our own. And so we started making prototypes in the winter of 2019, and then handing them out to friends. Nothing scented, just blends of oil that would help skin and hair. And they were like, everybody that we handed them off to was like, these are fantastic. You guys should try to figure out ways to add scents to them. And then spring of 2020, so a few months later, COVID starts emerging, and the whole
Yep.
world kind of turns itself over. And so we kind of slowed our efforts down. I think that's the only mistake that's been made, was we kind of slowed down to feel out how the world was falling apart, I suppose.
Yeah.
But once we decided, like, no, hell no, people like this, our friends like it, we like it, let's see what we can do. In July of 2020, then is when LiT, actually July 3rd of 2020, LiT had its first sale. I remember I was pumping gas, and my phone made a different sound, like it had a different alert. And I was like, what's that? And it was the first order hitting through Shopify. And I was like, hell yeah, we're official, we're a real business now.
Yeah.
So LiT's been around now for about 3.5 years officially.
And again, 3.5 years, 10,000 plus orders this year alone. Like
Yeah.
that's huge
Yeah.
for a brand new company, especially
Yep.
one that you do part time. Like, how the heck do you keep up with 10,000 orders
It's
365
tough.
days out of the year? I
Yeah, it's
don't even know the
tough.
math on that. Like, let me do the math on
Yeah,
that real quick.
yeah, it's tough. While you're doing the math, I'll tell you that I have good friends and I have good family. So my wife, she can label bottles for me when I'm at work. My mom, my mom is retired, so if I'm like, "Hey, mom, can you throw some labels on the balm tins for me?" Or can you put? I always put. There's a couple here behind me. I put raffle tickets in
Yeah, the
the
box is
boxes before I.
stuffed with good
Yeah.
things. Like when you get it,
Yep.
you don't just get the product; you get this all this stuff with it. It's
Yep.
amazing packaging.
And in this space, I personalize a note to every
Yep,
customer. So not only am I filling 10,000 plus orders, I'm personalizing 10,000 plus notes, including, what song I was listening to, really heavy on AC/DC, Metallica, Ozzy, that sort of
nothing
stuff.
wrong with
But
that.
I'm really trying to make connections with, every lit customer, every razor hater. So how do I do it? It's tough, but I think, you being a veteran, you understand like I do. I think we're built a little bit differently. I think that we know
Yes.
how to cope and endure with a lot. And so every time it grows and it makes a new leap, sometimes it gets frustrating, it gets a little bit scary, but you know how to just say, damn it, I'm going to do it. And then set a goal, share it with people, use them as accountability, and then just keep on driving, like that's how you just
Yeah.
set a goal and you refuse to not hit it.
So 10,000 orders a year,
This year, yep.
365 days is 20, almost 27 and a half orders a day. So let's
Yep.
assume that there's days throughout the year where you don't do anything because you just take a day off or
Yep.
whatever. So still, you're talking about 30 orders a day if you take a couple of days off. 30 orders
Yep.
every single day, plus a full-time job that you have.
And two
That's
small children and a
that's a
wife.
lot of
Yeah,
work.
it,
That's a lot of
it adds
work.
up. Yeah,
And
if I take
to
a day
donate
off
all that.
to build.
Yeah, and to donate all that, like I think it's just so incredible um, how you've done it and how you've done it in such a little amount of time. The branding you have, like, how did you come up with the name for Lit?
Yeah, I was going through a lot of different, how do I say this, like options, I suppose. And one thing about me, I love hiking. I know that I had shared with you earlier that I had walked across the country, so I love hiking. I think the longer the better, right? Big heavy ruck, let's, go knock out 20, 25 miles, before lunch just to mix it up. So I did it on a hike. I was kind of brainstorming, what did I want? What was what was I trying to say with the brand? What was I trying to do? How did I want it to be universal? And I mean, I was going through different things where it was Wisconsin specific or, included kind of more stereotypical beard community things. And I just wanted it to stand out differently. I thought lit sounded elevated, it sounded hot, it sounded different. Candidly, I had originally thought about adding CBD oils to the oils before I realized what a cluster it is to add stuff like that. And so there was kind of that kitschy, lit that kind of community. I know CBD and THC aren't the same, but kind of
Yeah.
harken out to that. So I was kind of going with that. But then as we were literally sitting at the kitchen table, me, my daughter, and my wife drawing out what we wanted the logos to look like, and stuff like that, it really all just kind of fell into place.
So let's talk about something you just mentioned a second ago was that you walked across the country.
Yep,
What was the motivation behind that? Did you do it for a cause? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
sure. 10 years ago, 2013, another Iraq vet and his name is Tom Voss, we walked from Milwaukee to Los Angeles. So we walked across 7 states: Wisconsin, Iowa, Nebraska, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, and California. And we did it for three reasons. Number one, neither he nor I had really taken any time after our deployments to address our own shit.
Yeah.
You might go talk to a counselor, you might try to find other ways to cope, but we had never really we had never really addressed anything, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
So he had reached out to me and said, "Hey man, do you have a ruck I can borrow?" And I said, "Sure, what for?" And he said, "Well, I'm thinking there's some guys I served with that live in California. I'm thinking about just taking that time, walk out there and see them and use that time to kind of address myself." And I said, "Man, I'm in the exact same boat." So we decided to do it as peers and help each other along the way. So that was reason number one. Reason number two, we wanted to raise awareness of the issues that impact veterans and their families. So we did an awareness campaign across the 7 states that we walked, with news, with local, like you could stop and talk to a Boy Scout group. You would be meeting veterans all the time. People would pull over. They'd see us walking on the side of the road. They'd pull over and talk to us and want to know our story. So really try to raise awareness of the issues impacting veterans and their families. And third, yeah, we were trying to raise money for a nonprofit in Milwaukee that helps veterans and their families. So we really wanted to take the time to help ourselves, but at the same time, again, be of service. How how the walk turned into a documentary is an additional story. But yes, there was a documentary film crew from New York that followed Tom and I as we walked and turned that into a feature length documentary, which you can see. It's called Almost Sunrise. You can watch it on Amazon Prime. And so they document our walk and they really bring to light a big topic in the veteran community that doesn't get a lot of discussion, but it is certainly getting more, which is the concept of moral injury. Most times when people are talking about the veteran experience and the struggles that veterans might be having, they run it through the lens of post traumatic stress or post traumatic stress disorder. And so when you go to the VA or you go to see a practitioner, in many cases, that clinical definition of post traumatic stress is stuff that you talk about. But the film really introduces the concept of moral injury and its impact on the veteran community. So not only does it document our walk, it documents that kind of process that he and I are going through the lens of moral injury. And then it exposes through coincidentally Project Welcome Home Troops, the organization that I donate $1 per sale from the beard oil to. You see Tom go through their breathing and meditation course at the end of it. I had taken that course prior to the walk, but you actually see Tom then take the course in the film, and so that's why we did it. And those are some of the cool, I guess, connections to the beard oil. I never really thought that it would lead to anything. I just thought we would walk to California and hopefully feel better by the time we got home. But it's opened up so many cool things when people say, "I saw that film, and as a result of it, I can now forgive my dad, or I can forgive my husband,
Mm.
or I can forgive my brother because I feel like I better understand, what he was going through, or what my wife or my daughter, or my friend was going through." So the amount of forgiveness that people have discovered from that film is certainly something that I didn't know,
It's
I would
incredible.
be involved in either.
Yeah, and I think it's really hard for people to understand. And unfortunately, the only people who really get us is us. Um,
Mhm.
we connect really well with other veterans, whether we've met each other or not. This is the first time we're talking. You just have something in common. And people don't necessarily understand that who haven't served. It's not that they can't understand it, it's just really, really hard for them to understand where we came from and the things we had to do, and the structure and the brotherhood. And when that's just ripped away, when you just leave service, whether you retire, you get out, or they kick you out, and you wake up the next morning and you don't have to put camouflage on anymore. You're not lacing up combat boots. You got to go deal with the other side of the world, which is what 90% of the population deals with on a daily. That is a difficult
100%.
thing for people to do. And I know when I first got out, it took me a couple of years because I was medically retired. I kind of saw it coming. So I kind of conditioned myself a little bit. I conditioned myself to transition. I didn't
Hmm.
I didn't condition myself to transition like mentally. Like I was just in that, okay, I got to get a job, I got to transition to another career, I got to take
No.
care of my family, blah blah blah. I did that. I didn't prepare myself for not wearing camouflage every day, not having my buddies to lean on, not having, not embracing the suck with everybody else. Like you had that in common. And
Hmm.
when that was pulled away from me, and then my injuries caught up to me, and then like it's such a life change that I don't. Nobody's ready for that. Nobody is ready for that. And it's cool to see something like that. And but it's also cool to see people see the film and understand the documentary and then go, now I understand what my dad was going through, my brother,
Yeah.
blah, blah, or my husband was going through. Like, I get it a little bit more now. And
Yep.
it's not that they're taking anything out on me. It's like there's a piece of their life that's gone. And it's just now it's just
Agreed.
memories, but it was such a huge piece of their life. Like when they say you're married to the military, man, it is not a joke. It is that deep of a connection for a lot of us because it's more than just a livelihood.
Yeah. And so here's a fun fact too. To echo everything that you're saying is absolutely yes. When I before I took the Project Welcome Home Troops breathing course, I was basically introduced to it because I was doing a study, or as a participant in a study at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. They were studying the threat stimulus of combat veterans. And so they would put me, there was two stipulations. Number one, you had to be a combat veteran. Number two, you couldn't have any metal in your body. So you go through an interview process. And then once you're qualified, they would put you through a test in which they would put you in an MRI tube for, I feel like it was like 2 hours at a time.
Jeez.
And you would look at clocks. And I forget if the yellow one did it or the blue one did it. But if you looked at the blue clock, you would not get shocked. And if you looked at the yellow clock, you might be shocked. Now, this was not some sort of like violent shock. It was just, shock
A little
electrodes on your
buzz.
wrist. Yes, but what they would do is as soon as I would see the clock, they would look at how my brain reacted to the perception of a threat. And so when you talk about,
Mm.
you're married to the military, yes, indeed, but then you're also changed by your military experience. It's like when
Yeah.
you're in it, you're in it. But then even when you leave it, your experiences have changed how you view the world and how you view everything, like this. And so
Yeah.
100%, I couldn't have said it better the way that you put it, where you're married to the military, but then certainly your military experience is something that you carry on consciously or unconsciously for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It was interesting because during the walk, meeting so many people that were veterans, they shared their stories with me, and I learned so many lessons and got to see my future. I got to see people that were living my life 10, 20, 30, or in the case of like Vietnam veterans, 40 to 50 years ahead of me. And like you said, being married to the military and the lessons that you learn, one of the lessons I learned in the military is, you're not a unique snowflake. The only person in the world that really needs, that has to love you is your mom, maybe your dad, but
Yeah.
nobody else really has to love you. And so there's nothing uniquely special about you. Well, I would get out of the military or kind of carry on with my life, and I would meet people that were, Vietnam vets, and I'd be like, listen, if you don't change the way that you are, let me tell you how your life is going to be because I lived it 30 years earlier. So that was certainly a gift that I received from that period walking across the country, too.
So let's flash forward a little bit. You walked across the
Sure.
country. Lit Beard Company is growing. How did you come up with like the different scents? Like, was it a lot of trial and error?
Sure.
Like, did you come up with some real shitty ones that you're like, ugh, that was not good, but this one's awesome? Like, tell me some of the story about it, kind of the comical side of coming up with these scents, because several of them that I've tried so far have been phenomenal, and
Good.
I think it's a great the spring break three way. I can't wait till you come
Yeah.
back with that one because
Yeah.
that Caribbean that just was perfect for
Yeah.
me. I love that one. But yeah, how did you
Good.
come up with the scents?
Sure. So when Lit started, just kind of starting with a stable of, I guess, kind of like your normal boilerplate, right? Like cedar woods, tea trees, things of that nature. But then really started getting into like creating my own unique scent. And generally, they're things about where I live or the culture or my life. So, for instance, my most popular scent is one called Wisco Whiskey. Here in Wisconsin, we have a drinking culture, a supper club culture, and one of the most popular drinks here in Wisconsin is an old fashioned. cocktail called an old fashioned.
Great
Now,
drink.
Wisconsin hammers brandy old fashions. It actually just became the official drink of Wisconsin, believe it or not. But I prefer a whiskey old fashioned. So I
Same.
wanted something that brought out kind of like the essences of that. So the cherry from, the sweet part,
Mm.
the oak from the barrel, like things like this. Um, like I wanted to blend something that brought all these things together. So I put things like that, like spring break three-way. I was living in Southwest Florida, and I was like, what do people come to Southwest Florida this time of year, January through, March? They're
Yeah.
coming for spring break. Like, what's every dude's dream on spring break? Spring break three-way. So I brought three scents together, and I put that in. Right now, my current scent is called Orion, the
Yeah.
hunter. I'm a
That's what I
big
got
hunter.
on.
I'm also a huge Metallica fan. So Metallica has a kick-ass song called Orion.
They
I
do.
love hunting, the constellation. So when you look at that label, you'll see it's like the constellation. It's a deer skull. And so that's leather for like your rifle strap or your wrist strap for your bow, apple for your bait pile, vanilla like the whiskey in your whiskey shot when you get your big buck. And then I wax dip every bottle of beard oil like a bottle of bourbon, right? So I hand make them. Not only do I come up with unique scents, but I want that whole experience to be very unique. So it's visually unique, right? With the wax dip. It's tactilely unique. You have wax, you have glass, you have vinyl. So there's all sorts of different surfaces. There's obviously the olfactory sense when you pop the cork, you can smell it. But then there's the auditory side when you break through the wax and pop the cork and you get that little sound. So
Mm-hmm.
like the whole experience of opening it is very intentional. Yes, coming back to the amount that I'm making, it takes time, but I think people really notice and appreciate like truly the intention that this is not something that's
Yeah.
coming off of an assembly line. It's coming right off of my workbench here.
So, what do you have like in store going forward? So, you have kind of some of your staples. Then you have your
Yep.
giveaways that you do, the
Yep.
packaging that you do, which is really cool because the whatever you order comes in a nice little box with the shredded. I don't want to say
Yeah.
confetti, but the shredded paper. It sits in
Yeah.
there nicely. Yeah, you show one to
Yep.
the camera real quick, but
So you can see, like, if you were getting a box, to your point, you got this. It's got some Easter eggs. So you'd see this
yeah.
right here. So the veteran-owned part, and then when you open it up, you get the quotes: "The best thing Wisconsin made since cheese curds," all that. But then you get some Easter eggs. Like one of my mottos is "fuck razors," so you're gonna get
Hmm.
that in the tabs. But then, like I said, right here, you're gonna see a personalized note from me. Right now, for orders $69 and over, you're getting a limited edition 2023 Lit Beard Company Christmas ornament. But like I said, like here's a bottle of Wisco whiskey. So you can see that wax tip. You can see that label that you're talking about, things like that. Earlier this year, I came out with one called Patriots Punch. So again, in summertime, I tried to come up with stuff that I like grilling. I like having a beer while I'm grilling. So this one is cherry, brown sugar, hops, and black pepper scented. And then my Christmas scent that comes out every Christmas season. I love this. This is the only scent that I make that makes me smile every time I sniff it. It's also my absolute favorite Lit Beard Company label. So this one is called Naughty List.
Mm.
And you can see it's basically two gingerbread men fighting, and one's shanking the other one with a sharpened candy cane. But so what's in store? Every quarter, I come out with a new scent. So next year in 2024, I'll come out with at least four new scents. This year, I added almost 13 new products. It might be, I'd have to think clearly, but I added beard and bar soap. I added conditioners. I added the four new scents. I added different kind of swag and gear, and then I added additional types of apparel. So you can see back here on my wall some of the
Hmm.
different back designs for T-shirts that I offer. I came out with hoodies. The Remember Everyone Deployed red threads that I've got. So I really
Yes.
want to continue to meet what razor haters are looking for. I think one of the cooler parts about the scents that I do create is that scent club members get to vote on which scents stay or go. So the only scents that I offer are those that have been deemed like the most worthy, right, by my best customers. So I think in 2024, I might start to retire some because, again, to stay competitive, I want to be able to put most of my emphasis on my most popular products,
Hmm.
spend most of my time doing that. But in order to do that, that means that I have to be collaborating and communicating with customers all the time, which, I do. So in 2024, definitely some new sense. I'll set a new target goal, to try to lift higher than what we did this year. And I'll continue to be unique. There are a lot of beard companies out there. I think the market is saturated, it's flooded with beard oil.
It's kind of
But
like
I
coffee
think that,
companies by veterans.
yeah, yeah,
They're
or
everywhere,
tattoos.
and there's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with it at all. Like I love coffee companies. And I've been trying to try
yeah.
all these different coffee companies, but I have to say, to your credit, like I have yet to find a veteran-owned beard company that is doing things as uniquely as you are doing.
I appreciate that. I do. I try really hard to put the customer, at the center. I know everybody's going to say, the same stuff like, hey, it's really about customer service, it's really about uniqueness or whatever. But I sincerely believe that people feel it with us from, like I said, the handwritten note through the raffles, through the live streams, through the unique sense, through the charitable donations, through the transparency with my life on both what I share via social media, as well as just the ease of actually getting a hold of the guy that makes your stuff. You can DM me. I text every customer on an order just to
Yep.
say, hey, your stuff's coming. Let me know. If you're engaging with that text, you're talking to me. If you're chatting, you are talking to me. I actually had somebody get mad the other day because they messaged me at 4:21 in the morning, and I just happened to wake up and I saw that that person had been waiting for 10 minutes. And they were like, man, I thought this would only take, a minute or two. And I was like, I'm sorry, man. I'm kind of like a one man show.
Yeah.
But here's the answer to your question. So I do everything I can to really be who I am, be authentic, be unique, and make sure that customers know that they're appreciated, that this isn't a transaction. I'm trying to build a relationship with them.
So as far as the beard oil company goes, of course,
Sure.
I got the wash with my recent order. You really hooked
Yep.
me up too, by the way. I got to give you a quick promotion because I
Yeah.
got one of those special boxes
Yes.
of Orion. So I got the whole hunter's kit that you did the other day, which was really cool. But I've also gotten little samples of not just other beard oil from you that you include in the box, but I got some burn pit barbecue samples one time.
Yeah. Yep.
How did that kind of relationship come together to where you started doing that? Because now you're promoting
Yes.
another veteran owned business within your business. We don't take care of each other any better than anybody else does. Like we do it best.
Yeah. So how that relationship started. So um, Burn Pit Barbecue is a Wisconsin-based veteran-owned business, and one of the owners' his name is Greg. I would see them on Instagram and stuff like that, and I don't remember if I reached out and said like, "Hey, really like your stuff," or how it really started. But I do remember he had questions about how I was building the website, how I was building ads for social media, how I was building the LiT brand. He was already established, or they were already established in selling, but they really wanted. They were trying to expand more into the e-commerce space. I think that they were feeling pretty good about where they were brick and mortar and how they were doing that. So they reached out to me for help. Like, how do you build digital ads like this? How do you do these things? And so I said, yeah, man, if you want, let's meet for coffee on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, and I'll walk you through, how I do stuff. And then as we were doing that, I said, well, listen, LiT's growing. Would you want me to drop an offer for free samples of your stuff in mine? And they said, yeah. And I said, cool. Well, I really think that there's a lot of bearded dads out there that are buying barbecue stuff. Why don't you put an offer for Lit Beard Company in yours? And
Yeah.
so I have to tell you candidly, I laughed because when their free sample cards arrived, they looked just like mine. They were just rebranded. And I reached out and I said, I just kind of like, LOL, got it. And he was like, hey, if it's working, like, do what's working. Like, your stuff is killing it. So I wanted to make it like yours. And I was like, hell yeah. And so I put a burn pit barbecue offer in every one of my orders. And there's other businesses too that say, like, hey, I really like what you're about. Um, I'll put your Lit Beard Company insert in mine. And so that's another way of finding businesses that have brands that I like, or that have social impact campaigns that I can get behind, that I want to help them. This is a reciprocal relationship.
Yeah.
I'm not here to say, like, here's my hand, put something in it. It's like, if I can help you get better, rising tides raise all ships.
Hmm.
So I view that as kind of like my responsibility, helping other people whose brands I believe in grow.
And I think it's awesome, man, because when I got it, I hadn't heard of them. So I went and followed them on Instagram. I used that free coupon to get some samples. I got
Yeah.
samples in, made some awesome ribs with it like next weekend. I ordered
Yeah.
some of their stuff, and then I barbecued with their stuff all year round. So it's really cool how it kind of went and did like a tenfold thing. And
Yeah.
something as simple as just a free offer, like, hey, check us out. What do you have to lose? And
Yep.
boom, there you go. You meet somebody new, you follow them online, and like, yeah, like you said, I barbecue all the time. Like I barbecued or I smoked a turkey for Thanksgiving, and it was like 23 degrees outside. Like, you know,
Hmm.
there's guys like me and you who it's not going to stop us. The weather's not going to stop us from going out there and
Nah,
cooking.
grilling season's 365 days long, my
Exactly.
man.
Exactly. Exactly. So I think it's awesome how you did that and you opened up a new door for that. I think it's awesome that you hit 10,000 plus orders this year and you made such a huge donation. Um, and I love what's going on. I think people should go and become, what is it? It's a subscriber to the beard. What is it?
Yeah, the Scent Club. So
Sin
if you
Club.
become a Lit Beard Company Scent Club member, automatically you get my current oil balm and wash and a free T-shirt. You get entered to win a CRKT knife, which is a member only benefit. You get discounts. You get access to the members only page on Facebook, where a lot of the votes on which scent stay or go happen. A lot of the sneak peeks and behind the scenes type stuff of watching me make the balms or the washes, or anything like that is happening. So that's a great benefit, right? And then every 3 months you get my newest scent, before, at a lower price, and then before general population. So that's a pretty cool benefit. Yeah. So the Scent Club.
Yeah, I'm going to have to become a Scent Club member myself because
I'm
that's a
ready.
great
I'm
deal.
ready when you are, Jeff.
I'll do it tonight.
All right.
Well, so before I let you go, I appreciate you coming on, telling us
Of
about the,
course.
the company and your story, but tell people where they can go to find out more about you, the company, get the awesome products.
Sure, no problem. So the website for Lit Beard Company is litbeardco.com. Litbeardco.com. You'll be able to go there. You can sign up for the Scent Club. You can check out, if you go all the way to the bottom, if you say, there's an opportunity to win free stuff. So if you put your email address in, I give away 3 oils and a T-shirt every month during the live stream, along with that CRKT knife and stuff like that. You can see all that on litbeardco.com. Of course, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. You'll see a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I try to be very transparent. I, show pictures with me and my family, pictures of, my daughter and I filling orders. I talk about Lit. I expose kind of like, hey, here's who we are and where we're going this weekend and what we're doing. So come on out and support what we're doing. So certainly follow us on social media. And if you're interested in watching the film to learn a little bit more about me, Project Welcome Home Troops, who we donate that dollar to from every sale from Lit Beard Company. Again, it's on Amazon Prime. You can go on Amazon Prime and look up the documentary Almost Sunrise. You could certainly go on YouTube and type in Almost Sunrise documentary, and you'll see several clips, interviews. It's been in several film festivals, so you'll be able to see QA panels that I've been on and stuff like that, and actually see interviews with me, the director, my buddy Tom that I walked with, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of content out there if you're looking to learn about Lit, if you're looking to learn about me, or you just want to support, a Wisconsin-based veteran-owned business.
Well, Anthony, thanks, man, for coming on. I appreciate you. I love the company. I love what you're doing. 10,000 orders. I'm giving the call out right now to anybody listening. Go follow Lit Beard Company on all the social medias. Go check out the film
Yeah.
and tell someone about the company and whatever his goal is next year 10,000, 12,000, 15,000,
Yeah.
whatever he sets it as. Let's help him get
Yeah.
to this because every dollar goes right back to a veteran owned charity, an
Yeah. I think it's
organization
going to
that
be
needs the help.
15. I'm
15,000 is
pretty
huge,
sure it's going to
man.
be 15. I'm pretty sure it's going to be 15,000. I think if I just went like 11 or 12, which is certainly great growth, that would be fantastic. But I think, we're bigger, better, faster than a lot. And I don't want to do something that's going to leave me feeling comfortable. I want to wake up every morning going, damn, I better get to
I got
work
to get
today.
it.
So I'm pretty sure I'm going to do 15. Yeah.
Nice. Well, man, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate
You're
you,
welcome.
and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you very much. As always, thank you for your support and everybody that's watching. I really appreciate it. And all I can say is stay bearded and fuck razors.